Guys, we're back at the Deranged Customs workshop, and as you can see, I'm back with the 308 project. Like I said, if you haven't watched our previous videos, make sure you go and check them out after this video. This will be the 5th episode of this build. So if you're not up to date, we basically taken a 308 GTS. We partnered up with Liberty Walk to do one of the UK's first Liberty Walk 308s, but it's not just the 308 project, Liberty Walk project. We're also doing loads and loads of custom work on this car. So as you can see from the last video, if you have been watching, I've turned the car around now, and today we're going to work on the rear end. Last week we worked on the bonnet and we made some aero on the front end, and today I'm going to be literally cutting all of this rear section out, because my vision is for the exhaust to be coming out high level here, and then the number plate will sit somewhere underneath. But for that to happen, all of this panel, because the exhaust originally comes out around here, so all of this rear panel, all this metalwork needs to be moved out of the way, and almost like a tunnel inside the car made for the exhaust to run up. So we're going to work on that. Also, all of this is going to be cut out, and then flat panel put in here with one recess for a light. So we're going to have new lights, but just single either side. So it'll be single here, and then nice smooth finish up to that. Maybe even a mesh in there, we're not sure. So yeah, we're going to get started now. So like I said, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit notifications, because we're doing weekly or fortnightly, at least fortnightly updates on this build now. So yeah, if you haven't checked out the previous videos, go and check them out. Come back to this one, watch the journey from the start, from when we bought the car. We bought the car at auction at Goodwood Revival a few years back now. Yeah, so it's a long road with this one, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting stuck into it today. So, and see how we get on. So I've stripped all the carpet out inside just so I can get a good look at what's going on under here. So you've got this floor here which has got an under tray, just about to take that off. So then I've got all this area then basically from the exhaust come out either side under here. So we'll have to eventually re-pipe them so they come directly up out of here. But also what I want to look at is the tail lights. So there's a company that do some nice LED tail lights for the Ferrari 355, so we've actually got one of those. So I've just had a measure up, and they are the same size unit as here, so we're only going to run a single. So the plan is now to measure all this out and cut this section out here and basically move that across, so we've got the opening for a single light there. It might work, it might not, but regardless of that, we'd either, if that doesn't work, then we'll have to totally remake this section, so make this recess round here. So what I've done now is obviously I've marked this panel out. So I measured from this point here, which is the fixing point on the light, and then directly up from there to a certain point. Well, I measured from this point here to here. Did the same on this one, so I've marked it out now, so to that point, to that point. So the idea is now, obviously I've measured that to cut that out of there, and then if I cut down here, same point here and same point here, the plan is that that will fit in that section there, and then all we've got to do is make an infill, a square infill panel to go in there. So yeah, so I'm going to cut this now, and then hopefully that will fit in there nicely. If that works, I'll repeat on the other side. There's some repair work still on that side, so we might not do it today, but at least we know the plan works, and then we might attack the exhaust sensor section after this to start marking all of that out to where we're going to cut. There might be a little bit of adjustment to do because this depth here was slightly different to there, so it might not work exactly as planned, but we can always cut down here and squash this in. So yeah, which is what I thought. So just take all the measurements so we know where it's got to go. But yeah, pretty happy with that, I'd say.
See, we've pretty much finished most of the work on this side, and it did go to plan. I've just got to make a flat panel to go in there, which will be nice and easy. Looking at this side, it's going to be a bit more of an issue because there's been some previous damage. As you would have seen in the other videos, all around this car there's loads of other bits and damage, and it's all history of the car really, and it shows a story, but just makes it a lot harder work for me right now because this basically, that side we just moved this over, this side, this all needs replacing. This is really wobbly, there's even a big hole here, and it's had loads of dodgy brazing work done before, which is no good. So the plan, I think, I'm just going to have to play it by ear, but the plan is I still want to cut this panel out and be able to use that there. So we'll do exactly the same as we did before. So I'll cut that out, do all of that, move that across, but then I think the plan is to cut this panel out separately, replace that, piece that in, so instead of just piecing a piece in there, we'll piece a piece in here as well. So that will be pretty much what we need to do on this side. And then we need to tackle this. So this recess needs to be gone, so we need to cut. I might end up just cutting from here, cut all the way across, and then just weld a big piece in, but this has got a curve on it, so we'll need to get that on the English wheel and maybe make the panel. We might be able to just curve a piece of steel to go in there by hand, but the plan is obviously to replace that completely, and then work out a plan for the exhaust. So whether I need to cut this piece out completely, or if you look inside, then once we look inside, we might be able to leave this all intact and then just come up here. So if I cut a panel out here, the exhaust can come up through here and then be shaped in here, and then we'll just make a nice, we'll just box that area in. So we need to keep room for, this is going to be on air ride as well, so we've got the airlift system to go in here. So we do need space somewhere for the canister, so the air tank basically, so all of the pump and everything can go in one corner, and then maybe the air tank, so we need to just make sure we've got room for that. So we're going to take the measurements of that, and then wherever we come through, we'll just keep it tight here and then come through. So yeah, we'll look at all of that today. We're going to crack on now, see how we get on. On there so I can mark it up basically, and then measure it all out again, try and get it the same as that side. So well, that does join there. Let's see if I can drill that out. That panel is welded under there, so I think that's probably what I'll do is I'll take that I'll actually cut all of that section back and make a whole new panel to go in there. Not as bad as the front. I just see the front. Look at that as well. Look, this bit here. If I can make it work, I'm going to take these windows out and make a whole ducting bit that goes in there, goes through to the intake, and might even do away with that just to make it totally different. Yeah, because well, see, this is very iconic for this model, so it's a toss-up between whether we lose that just to go for something crazy different, or is that gonna ruin the look of the car? I think it will add to it. I think do away with it and have it intake there. I think it just look cleaner down the side. It'd be interesting to know people's opinions on that. That I've cut out of here is going to go there, and then we'll make a new panel to go in there. But the plan is to do away with this recess here for the number plate. So I'm probably now going to cut all the way across here and across here, and then we'll just make a new part from there to there, just a whole new panel to go in. So there's no point piecing a bit in there and then piecing a bit in there. We might as well use that for the profile. So we'll use that shape for the profile and just shape a whole new piece to go in. That side's nice and round, and then look at that side. If you compare it to the other side, it makes a nice round. There we go. Sorted. So what I need to decide is whether I'm going to actually cut that out yet, or maybe mark where the exhausts are going to go in this panel and just use that as a bit of a template to do this. That whole bit out to do away with this recess. We'll just replace that whole panel. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave this in for now, and then we'll mark out on here where the exhausts are going to go, maybe cut those holes out and just use that for a template so we know where we can pipe through. Or do I just cut it out? I think how high the exhausts are going to come, so if I can work it out from that, that's halfway. Very rough, but I'm just going to roughly try and mark out where the exhaust will go. What do you reckon? Let's have a look at my design. What do you reckon on the exhaust? How far apart? Bear in mind that's going to be filled in. What do you reckon? Got the design there. Looks about right, doesn't it? First time. Then you've got the little badges sort of set in between. Yeah, that's 4-inch holes, so we're like about 3.5 inch caliper. Just want to get an idea of where it's gonna come through here. So I was gonna cut all that out, but I don't need to. I just go straight out and pipe down there. So all I need to do is cut a section out of there and then box it in. Just got to make sure that we got room for this tank. Yeah, so literally we could go So you got overall we got 460. Let's get the middle of that. 500. 5 to 7 8 785. It's half of 785. My maths is not that good. Believe it or not. 5 divided by 2, 392.5. So 392. So that's where the edge of the hole is going to come to of the exhaust. So really, we need to, roughly speaking, we're going to probably want a bit extra. If we say an extra, because we'll have to, whatever we put there, we're going to have to put heat resistant stuff on it. There's nothing under there, is there? Yeah, so we can just cut that out. Literally cut that out, that section, and the exhaust will run up here, straight, and just pipe straight out there. Simpler than I thought, put it that way, yeah, simpler than I thought originally. Now I've done that, we can mark this out, we can cut that out, we can make the sections to go in there. We might leave that for another video. Yeah. I think I'll just cut those sections out, and then that'll be about it for today. And then in the next video, we'll look at making the panels, obviously making them out of cardboard first or some sort of board. We'll make them out of, and then get all the shapes right, and then make it out of metal, cut all the panels out of metal, and then weld it all up. So yeah, I think I'll get everything cut out today, what we need to, finish that off now, and then, like I say, next video will be fabricating all the new panels. So that's that back panel cut out. Obviously I've cut that out because this has got the recess for the number plate, and we're going to relocate the number plate down here for the exhaust to go here. So obviously that's why I've cut that out. We'll keep hold of this because that's going to be have the right profile on it, so when I make the new piece to go in there I can put the profile back on that. But I'm also thinking whether it might be worth leaving this open, shaping this nicely, and having a mesh panel that goes around the rear lights and across the back. We're just working out how that might fit in. It might be a lot of work to probably have to drop this back, so there's a recess back for the mesh to fit in, so probably a lot more work again, but it's an option. We'll have a think about that and maybe put a panel in there, see what it looks like. I'm thinking if it's all painted nicely and it's black, it's going to look, I don't know if there's a massive benefit for having the mesh. Some of these cars, like the later car, the 355, they put the mesh panel in the back on the challenge cars, but it's basically the engine is all the way to the back, so you haven't got this boot area, so it's the cooling really for the engine, so we're not actually going to benefit anything out of putting mesh here other than the fact that it's going to look cool maybe. But I don't know whether just having a nice clean panel there with the exhaust coming out of it and it's all painted, I think it's probably as good. I think I'll probably stick with that. But all I've got left now is just to cut this section out here, and that would be where the exhaust come through. And then that'll be, like I said, that'll be it for this week. Bond it, and then this will all be carpeted in here anyway, so, or leathered or whatever with sides. Huh? Oh, that's a panel in there, Ian, and then metal. So that's fine. So we can leave that and just cut. We've just got to go again. Boot of my car. In the boot of my car, I think. From the show. So guys, that's it for this week. Obviously, as you can see, we've cut all the back end out of the car, so ready for new panels. So next video we'll be concentrating on making the panel for this, making the infill panels for when it's also going to come up, make all that sealed, because obviously it has to be sealed from the elements. And I'm probably going to practice a bit of welding. I've never welded before, and that's one thing I'd really love to learn. So believe it or not, I'm doing all this fabrication and I don't weld. So the plan is to teach myself to weld in the next video. So make sure, as always, you like, subscribe, hit notifications, and watch this video. Go back and watch all the other videos if you haven't seen this from the start. Make sure you get up to date and check it out next week when we're going to try some welding. So thanks for watching. See you next time.